Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived. Emergency. Queen's Quest arrived.
Down to the queens.
Hello, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody inside and outside of the gender spectrum. Welcome back to Stardom Quest, the best weekly Stardom podcast anywhere in the world. I'm as always Alex, and I'm joined by Dylan. Hi, Dylan.
Hi, Alex. Hi, everybody. I am filled with existential dread, but I'm here to talk about wrestling, take my mind off of it.
Existential dread. Thumbs up.
Correct.
We have. No, that's not where I'm going. Plug. This is brought to you by the 5starnetwork.co. Head on over to the 5starnetwork.co for all of the great articles and podcasts for the wonderful world of pro wrestling. Head on over to the YouTube channel. This is where No Limit Wrestling goes up. This goes up. Just Stage goes up. Anything really goes up there.
There will be a new
No
episode of
Limit
No
just
Limit Wrestling
happened,
Show.
so.
No, there
Oh,
will be a
there's
new
another
one
one?
soon.
Oh,
We
nice.
are currently watching and preparing to record Friday an episode where we will watch WrestleMania PAD 6, main evented by Gold Combo versus Double and Noe. And it has other stuff on that show. That's very good.
Gold
But
combo?
Minami Toyota and Toshiya Yamada.
Oh, I see. Yes. Okay.
Yeah, so we're gonna watch that and review that. I want to do a dump show, like a show that had dump on it, but then I realized that's like you can't really find a full show from the 80s unless it's like the two full shows that everybody talks about and watches. So it's like,
Yeah, you could probably get that. Was the Osaka one with Masami and Nagayo? I'm sure that's up, isn't it?
that's not that was Nippon
Then
Budokan.
that's not really a
The
dump.
the reason
Oh,
why
no, okay.
I didn't want to do that one is because I'm gonna write an article about it soon anyway.
Ooh,
So
okay.
'cause that's Nippon Budokan. So you know,
I thought they wrestled in Osaka. Was that a rematch?
maybe.
I'm
Potentially.
pretty sure
I just
Masami
remember,
and Nagayo had a match in Osaka. It was a pretty
or am
big
I
one.
thinking was no, because I might be mixing the Crush Gals up because there's the Summer Festival, which has Masami versus Nagayo and Asuka versus Yokota, I believe. Um, but I could be mixing them up. I'm not
I
gonna
don't
lie.
know. Yeah, it's possible. I thought Yokota was retired by then, but maybe not.
In
Either way,
'85,
that's.
it was in '85 it was Masami Nagayo and Yokota Asuka. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I was thinking like 86 or so. So I was a year off. Um, Yeah, I think there's nothing on the. Actually, there is something from Stardom wrestlers outside of Stardom. Sareee was announced for a match in Oz Academy, where it's like a 5-on-5 match that ends up with one winner, and that winner will wrestle Mayumi Ozaki later in the show for the Oz belt.
It's an
So it kind of
elimination
was
match
awesome.
that turns into a free for all once one team wins.
Yeah, they did one in January or December, didn't they, for
December, yeah.
Mio
It was good.
Momono. It was really good. Yeah, I remember that one. So yeah, Saree's in that. She probably won't win because I think they're setting up one of the Ozaki Gun people to
Well, only
actually beat
Ano's in it,
Ozaki.
so it'll be Ano.
So yeah, well, kind of would have to be then, I guess. But well, she probably wouldn't beat Ozaki then. But I have no idea.
We'll see.
That's Sareee. FWC are also, I think, on that same show, or they're on a different one. They're wrestling Momoka Hanazono and a teammate,
Kohaku.
Pahaku, and the team of Mayuki and Kakeru Sekiguchi, and the winners of that will be the number one contenders for the Oz tag belts. So Stardom and Oz firmly working together, huh?
Yeah, that's all in late October, I believe. Uh, October
Yeah, I haven't
27th,
actually
maybe.
looked. It is the Yokohama Budokan, right? That's like the big Oz show of the year. But is it Budokan or Buntai? I never actually checked.
I would hope it's Budokan. Funtime C's big for that.
I thought Buntai was smaller, no?
I could have sworn Buntai was bigger, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I actually don't know. But yeah, that's all from Stardom Masters outside Stardom. I don't think there's been anything else. on that front. It's been very quiet. Sendai, and they're like the main.
Starlight Kid's gonna be in Kinnikuman. That's outside of Stardom, I
Yeah, I
guess.
guess I meant
She's gonna be
wrestling,
voice
but
acting something.
that's cool.
Voice
That's
acting.
good. Well, I guess we'll just go straight into it. There's 2 shows to review, and there's some house shows coming up, but there's nothing really super
Did they
important to
announce
look
house
ahead to.
shows?
Yeah, they've announced cards through the end of September, basically.
Oh,
Um,
okay.
and
Did not know that.
there's an artist match happening. There's a tag title match happening, and they confirmed the November stuff. So, we got a lot. The first show was on September 13th. This was New Blood 14, as in Aichi of all places for New Blood. And they did 326 fans, which is pretty much right in line with where New Blood has been. I thought it looked
Yeah.
nice though. I don't think they've run here before, but I thought it looked really good.
You're sure they haven't run here before? I feel like it looks like something
Maybe
they've
not
run
for New
before.
Blood, but maybe they run it
Yeah,
normally,
maybe.
but not for New Blood. But I thought it looked really nice,
It
regardless.
looks solid. Yeah, I
Yeah,
like the smaller venues. I've been asking them to put fucking New Blood in Shinjuku Phase forever. Uh,
yeah.
and they haven't, but it's okay.
Yes. In our opener, Micah and Rian beat Tam Nakano and Sayaka Kurara in a preview tag match for the world title match that happened the next day. Micah pinned Sayaka Kurara in 13 and a half minutes with a Michinoku driver. And this is pretty good. I thought Micah and Tam getting to pick their spots and do their preview was pretty strong. Rian stopped Tam from breaking up the last pin by getting her in the corner and just clutching the pad for
Yeah.
dear life and just trapped her there so Micah could get the win. It was pretty fun. So yeah, I enjoyed that. And
You were kind of right that this tag match led to like Rian sort of becoming closer with EXV, as Xena said day
yeah, a
later.
bunch of them were
That
like, "Hey, you should join us.
kind of
You're pretty cool."
yeah.
And
So
she
you were
is
right in that
wrestling.
front.
She's doing a hometown return show, and she's wrestling Micah, and I'm just like, yeah, that's that's pretty obvious where you're going here.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Um, what's happened after? Oh yeah, Konami beat Rani Agami in 11 minutes with
yeah.
a
I was never gonna watch
trim
this. I'm gonna
hold.
be real. I just
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want
It was like good enough. I like this version of Konami. But yeah, I think 11 minutes was a bit too much, and there was a lot of Konami just hitting Siri, who was seconding, and I was like, well, would Siri not hit her back? No. Kind of some of the logical fallacies that this stuff falls into. But yeah, Konami spraying Rana's face after was disrespectful, and Rana
Konami
kept
loves
it.
blackface.
Yes, pretty much. Rana like kept the spray paint on, so when they
Yeah,
did
there
the
were
show
pictures.
closing picture, Rana just had like spray paint all over her. It was pretty funny. Um, let's see. Hanako and Wakasuyama beat Hanan and Saya Ida in 14 minutes when Hanako submit Ida with the egret. Um, the egret is a strange move, isn't it? It just looks like she's dangling them from her arm and then just drops them when they tap. It is an
I
interesting move.
These time limits are weird.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing that now because I was like, wait, why didn't this one just go to 15? Like it would have been very easy. It was at 14. It's at a 20-minute time limit.
hmm
Why? And then opener had a 30-minute time limit.
Well, yeah, it was a world title preview.
Uh, Like all these have 20 minutes. It's bizarre to me. But yeah, Ida lost and I was fucking pissed, obviously, because
I remember I said it last week. I was like, "Are you ready for Wingori to lose to Hanako?" And you didn't think they would do it.
I just thought they would draw because it's a lot easier to draw and that like does just as much. But no,
No.
it ruined my
Um,
day.
Waka debuted some new gold gear, and I think she looks pretty good next to Hanako. I think they look a lot better with this refreshed vibe.
Mm.
Waka here largely dropped the ass comedy stuff as well, and I was like, this is where she shines. Now, she still does some of it, but she
She's
does a
still
lot
not
less.
great, but
No,
yeah.
I think she's really important though to Hanako. Like excelling is Waka carrying the workload and letting Hanako pick her spots. I think this version of Waka is a lot more helpful to that than foot comedy Waka.
I suppose. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
Um, there was some bits though that I thought were funny where Hanako and Ida were trading, and I was like, "There's just such a size difference. Like they're throwing lariats, and one of them's hitting her belly button. Like, what are we doing?"
Yeah,
It was
that's
funny.
always I forget what it was I was watching the other day. Oh, wait, no, it's actually I was thinking about the next match. It was Xena, or not Xena, it was, Hina in the tag against Hanako. Because I was like,
Yeah.
"Man, Hina has really good, forearms, but Hanako's just tall."
Hmm.
So she, like, can't really hit them very well
It was so
because
fun.
because Hanako is very tall. And, like, the sisters are all tall too, but, like, Hanako's just she's
She's giant.
Hanako. Yeah.
Hmm.
In the words of
Um,
Xena in that Scott interview, uh, "My hands are bigger than Waka's, but they're the same size as Hanako's, and Hanako's tall as fuck." Like, that's that doesn't make me feel better. Um,
Shout out Bucket
Hanako's a
Out
big lady.
Xena, by the way.
Yeah.
Shout out Bucket Hat.
Shout out Xena.
That was great.
Shout out that interview. I told Scott I would give it a plug, uh, even though he doesn't really need it. But yeah, it was a good interview Scott had with Xena over on Fightful.
Hell yeah. Hina and Tomoka Inaba beat
Mhm.
Starlight Kid and Miyu Amasaki of Neo Genesis. Tomoka Inaba got the win with the Inaba Atoshi in 12.5 minutes over Kevin. This was fun because Inaba and Kid squared off to start. And then Hina and Miyu Amasaki were like, nah, this is our time. And the crowd popped like crazy for Hina and Miyu Amasaki staring down. I thought it was
Yeah,
brilliant. Um, and then I
Young
thought it was
Queen's
a good
Quest.
match. Young Queen's Quest, indeed. And yeah, I enjoyed this match. I think Yamasaki losing was kind of where she is at the moment, but I thought they gave her enough to kind of make it work. And her and Hina built to some good stuff because they are actually going to have a number one contenders match.
Yes.
Apparently, yes. So
Yeah, I
they
felt
agreed
like
to do that at the next New Blood.
this was the match that stood out to me, just as like a match that like I cared about, just because I'm me. Obviously, Neo
Mm,
Genesis and this is God's Eye, and I don't really usually care that much about God's Eye, but it's two good members of God's Eye that I care about. So I was really, I was impressed with Hina and Miyu, which I
mm,
usually am, but I thought that they did kind of shine here.
they
Um,
did.
and I'm excited for that number one contenders match.
It's an
They just
interesting
had a
one to book as
match,
well
I
because
feel
yeah, they've
like,
both
but
lost to Rina, so either Rina is dropping right away or Miyu Masaki is actually going to finally win the belt, which is the direction we were expecting.
yeah, I mean, either of them feel like they should beat Rina.
Yeah,
So whoever wins that, it's looking like Miyu. But whoever wins that, I think is in good position to beat her. Um, I think Hanako's the only person that's like, oh, I wonder. But I feel like Hanako and Waka are probably primed for the new blood tags instead of Hanako getting
yeah,
the future.
definitely. Yeah, it does seem like they're going to win the tag belts, especially because I guess they do want to still protect Hanako to that degree of they know she can't go on her own, so they're gonna have Waka fill in the gaps and put them in tags, which is smart. That's how you're meant to do wrestling, is you hide weaknesses. It's wrestling 101. Um, our main event then was Rina and Azusa Inaba beating Aya Sakura and Yuna Mizumori. Rina got the win over Aya in 18 minutes with a double diving knee drop. I mean, this is a really good match. I think Rina and Aya do really good stuff together. I think Azusa.
Mhm.
I mean, we both are really high on Azusa Inaba. We're both high on Yuna Mizumori. But I thought the Rina Aya stuff really stood out here. It's just really, really good.
Full disclosure, I didn't get to watch this match. Why did it go 18 minutes? That feels like a long time.
They are prepping Rina for the run from hell.
Yeah. Again, I didn't get to check this out, but I do like Rina and Aya a lot together. I think they really work some magic whenever I see them together.
Mm.
And yeah, Azus is good, Unimon's good. Um, 18 minutes is a long time, but I'm sure they filled their spot pretty well. Azus officially joined Hate with this match.
Yes, indeed. Afterwards, she was offered a shirt and said, "Yeah, I want to join, and we're gonna destroy all of the old hags dominating Stardom." So, we have a new
Young
generation of
haters.
old hag haters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, and I think that was that show. There wasn't another match that I'm forgetting, was there? No, no, that was it.
No,
That was
new.
honestly like that was a really short, fun show. I got
Mhm.
I enjoyed New Blood a lot.
Yeah, I felt like going into it, I was just kind of like, I don't really. have much attachment to any of this because it feels like it's a lot of just like moving in place. Like there's not much actually happening, and it's kind of
Mm.
difficult because the two belts that make up this, you know, this brand
Brand.
are both
Yeah.
on the same person, and she
Mhm.
didn't defend either of them on this show. Um, Considering that there are two new bloods this month, I would have liked even that main event to just be the new blood tag match, like just make it a title match,
Mm.
since you can now that there's official rules for the new blood tag belts that fit into the ruling. Uh, I would have liked that. I would prefer that, but because it just kind of felt like there wasn't much of substance going on except for my favorite wrestler losing, I was a bit lower on the show than I think you were, just because I just didn't get much out of it, I guess. But
Yeah, no, that's
that's me.
fair. That's fair. They also don't do this on YouTube anymore. This show is on Stardom World,
Yeah,
so
that
I guess
I
the
texted you.
YouTube part is
That
dead.
was a big part of like the annoyance is that it's like the show would be a fun one to just like lay in bed and watch, just kind of like passively, which is what I used to do with New Blood. But having to like get up and go to my computer and sit down and watch it, I didn't want to do that as much as I would have if I could just watch it on my TV, uh, on YouTube. So that was a bit of a bummer, but it was fine.
All right. Um, I I'm still here. Yeah, yeah, everything's being
Yes,
slow.
yeah.
So yeah,
I
okay.
know you just took
Um,
like a second to answer. I was like, oh, it's
yeah,
being
no, like I clicked into the review or the results thing for Stardom, and the entire thing was like, nope. Um, yeah, it seems fine. I hope. Um, no, maybe.
no, you're here. You're here. You're good.
All right. Yeah, it's all really slow because I'm loading up Cacto log instead of cage match for Marigold because I'm not getting burned
Mm,
again. Cage match. But yeah, our next show anyway for Stardom to review was on September 14th. This was Stardom Namba Grand Fight in Edion Osaka Arena #1. They did 1,407 fans here, and my post about this attendance got a lot of discussion going from
it
people.
did.
Um, I'm of the mindset that anything touching 1,500 for this year in Joshi should be celebrated because Joshi as a whole just seems to be in a bit of a crater. Um,
Yeah.
so I would celebrate anything approaching 1,500, but I also understand the viewpoint of Tam versus Micah is two of their top stars. They spent the entire GP building to this. You probably would have wanted more. I totally understand that as well. So I would celebrate it just looking around the scene. I think definitely this probably is some
On
disappointment
paper,
internally.
I would celebrate it, but also like I feel like it just it's a fine number for Osaka too.
Mhm.
I think people forget that like Stardom has not been hot in Osaka since Kagetsu retired, frankly.
Yeah.
Um so it's like I don't really expect much out of Osaka, but I will also say that like an empty Osaka arena venue is one of the worst things you could run imaginable. And this was an empty
Yes.
Osaka venue. Um,
Yet another Osaka
it's
show, another terrible crowd. Crazy.
yeah, yeah, like that's the thing is that it's like if they had ran this number, which I don't know the capacity for number two, but if they ran this number in Osaka EDN number two, it would have been awesome. Uh, you know what I mean?
Eddie on 2
Um,
fits 1,400. I guess maybe 9 max? I don't know.
it fits technically 8,000. Wait, no, that's the
Eddie
wrong one.
on 2?
That's this one.
Yeah, no.
That's this one.
Yeah. See, Eddie on
Does
2 is
EDN
weird because
two
I think
not
everybody
have a
sets up for, like, tiny. But I'm pretty sure Noah ran there once and set up bigger, and they did, like, 900. But I might be Mandela affecting myself, you know?
dude? Does Osaka EDN number two just not have? It doesn't have
They probably
anything.
don't because it varies so much.
Yeah,
Um,
but yeah, I think if you could probably get like 1,100 or 1,000 into Osaka Edion number two. And I would have rather that to this. You know what I mean? But I get why they wouldn't do that. Um, but like I said, empty Osaka arena is dire always. Now, packed Osaka arena, one of the best ever. I mean, like like those good Osaka Joe halls uh for New Japan, like those shows, like when there's a packed, excited Osaka crowd, better than like any crowd in the world. But when it's a mostly empty, not super excited Osaka crowd, it's not good at all.
No, not at all. Um, yeah, that's that's Joshi in a nutshell.
And for
The
for
attendance is
me,
oh yes,
heading
go
into
ahead.
this match, I had just finished watching Valiente versus Hechicera versus Svinge versus Euphoria, which is like one of the best matches of the year. So everything, especially on the bottom half of this card, the starting half, really just looked bad in comparison to one of the most emotionally captivating matches all year.
I
So
see.
I do want to preface that. Shouts out Euphoria, uh, and Hechicero and Valiente, and I guess this Svinge.
Your comments don't bode well for our opening match, which was Mina Shirakawa losing to Saya Kamatani in 11 minutes with a uh,
High
she
stack.
even hit. Was it just a roll up?
It was a high stack, and
Yeah.
she put her legs on the top rope just to be
That was so
silly.
extra. She put them all the way on the top rope. That was
It's like that's
incredible.
like not how wrestling like Barb can see that.
No, but the funny part is she's just like, I am so lanky, I will do it from the top rope, stunting
Yeah,
on all of them. It was incredible. I thought this was a really good match. I know it
I
was
didn't.
like really slow paced and it wasn't quite what their Wonder title match was, of course, but I don't know. I thought what it was in the opener, I thought they both did well. Um, although I do think that um, for an opener, for Stardom openers, I definitely think this is a weird divergence because they usually go for like the high energy opener. They have put FWC in this spot a lot. They sometimes put the future match in this spot. Like they usually open the show with a high energy match. Opening it with Saya and Mina, both of whom are working a much slower pace, was an interesting choice to me. And I think they just did it so that they could get the views on the YouTube, which is where they air the opening match for free. So I thought it was an interesting choice, especially card placement wise. I thought the latter half of the card did miss that big Saya match because she is one of the most important people of the recent months. So, and once you got to the latter half of the card, it was like, okay, well, what's Saya doing? Because she's one of the key people in the company. So I thought getting her out of the way in the opener was just a bit interesting.
Yeah, as like because this show is kind of the payoff to the 5 star. If you look at it from that point of view, I feel like it kind of failed. Um, and I think this was part of it. I think Tulsaya versus Mina was not very good. I thought a lot of it was quite bad. It doesn't bode well for this match. I would actually say that this match benefited from me also having to watch Jericho versus Mystico, being like, well, this wasn't as bad as that.
Yeah.
So I'll give it that. But I just felt like a lot of this was very slow, and I feel like their energy was kind of what carried their matches previously. Was just like this like feeling of a high energy, a very intense encounter. I felt like there was very little of that here. Mina does cool spots, so like I did pay attention to those obviously and be like, oh yeah, Mina still has her cool strike rush. She still has, this and that. Saya actually did connect with her axe kick on the apron, which she has done in most of her matches. First time she did it, it looked great. Hasn't looked great ever since. And then this one, she did it well. So
Hmm.
that's great. But yeah, I just thought a lot of this was not what I wanted. I feel like I just still don't I feel like for Psycom as heel, you have to kind of like just completely throw out the first half of the match and be like, well, she doesn't get it yet. And then you have to judge it off the second half of the match. Uh, and I don't think I do that as I don't think I give her the benefit of the doubt as much as some people do in that sense.
Okay.
Um, personally,
I think the finish is weird as well. Like
yes,
they do it just to protect Mina, and that's kind of like I get
correct.
it, but I don't know, shrugging my shoulders there. Very much ready for them to move on from Mina, and especially like sticking Saya in the Minaverse, where Mina was like, "You may have won, but nobody wants you. They want me," and it's like, okay, great, cool. Um, so yeah,
So I just kept calling her easy, which I felt was a bit weird.
yeah,
Um,
whole thing was strange. I don't really.
yeah.
the Jericho versus Stardom edition, you know. But yeah, that was our opener. The next match was Hanako Wakasuyama beating Hina Minami. Oh, they put her full name. Cool. Hina and Rana Yagami. Hanako submit Hina in 8 minutes with the egret. That submission she's been doing. Um, they did. Oh, they said here that Hanako announced her challenge for the tag championships. I didn't realize that was official. But yeah, this was kind of more the same. It was just kind of Waka filling the gaps. Hanako runs wild. Hanako gets the win. You know, it was just building them up even more, basically. So,
Mm.
was what it was.
Yeah, like I said, Hina couldn't. I think people kind of struggle sometimes against Hanako because of her size and because of things like that. But I thought that Hina looked good here. Um, the match itself was fine. It didn't stand out whatsoever. But yeah, that, that that's it.
Our next match was Cosmic Angels team of Aya Sakura, Yuna Mizumori, Sayaka Kara, and Sareee Ano beating the Hate squad of Natsuko Tora, Rina, Rocca, and Azusa Inaba. Aya Sakura beat Rina in just under 12 minutes with what they're calling a deformed triangle fastening, which is an incredible name. I can't lie.
This is
Um,
triangle hold or
yeah.
the leg lock.
This was another heavy Aya Arena match. I don't even remember seeing Soriano get in the ring. Um,
No, I do remember Yuna, but other than that,
yes,
it was just Rina and
yeah,
Aya.
it was mainly Rena and Aya got the win. Um, I think it's interesting what they're doing in the future scene at the moment. I don't have a lot to say about a lot of this card, but I thought Rena having the two belts and now all of a sudden she has these like two surging challengers behind her is kind of
Mm.
interesting with like
Yeah,
Hanako
no, I
and
agree.
Aya both being built up. I think it's a good stuff for the undercard girls to be involved in.
Yeah, I thought
Um,
Rina and Aya did a great job here. Honestly, I
oh, they're gonna
really
have
liked.
such a killer match. I'm so
Yeah,
excited for that.
and I think Aya winning this match also was like the biggest pop of the night,
Yeah,
which is kind of funny.
yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was a cool spot to give Aya. Shockingly
Mhm.
good match because it's a
Yes,
huge hate match. But then again, I think young hate is kind of cool.
and Natsuko Tora. You like
Yeah,
Natsuko.
Natsuko is also cool. Yeah.
We had in our next match Kohaku, Maysara, and Starlight Kid beating Koguma, Saida, and Momokogo. Kohaku got the win for her team over Momokogo, shocker, in just under 9 minutes with what they're calling a direct teaching WRMT. Yes. Um, I honestly expected more from this, and I thought
Yeah.
Kohaku was a bit off. Kohaku a lot. She is really, really good, but here she was just clearly not in sync with anybody. And I thought she looked a lot slower than she usually does, a lot more awkward. I was just kind of expecting more.
Yeah, I also expected more from this match. I think sometimes stars and not like Neo Genesis now, sometimes they just like don't go the lengths that they could, even in 8 minutes. You know what I mean? Like I don't think it's like a timing thing. Sometimes they're just like, you know what, let's just have one of our you know, first gear matches instead
Mm,
of going too hard in it. And I feel like that's a bit of a shame because like it's the most obviously good combination you can run
yeah,
in the company. So I think that was kind of what this was that was like, oh, they're just gonna kind of do their stuff and get out. And I was a bit disappointed by that. But with that being said, it was still a good match. I thought Kohaku did well enough. I agree that it felt like she was a bit off pace. And I also think she was in the ring for like six and a half of the 8 minutes. So that didn't really help her kind of like, pick her spots better. But I thought it was a good match. Definitely disappointing in comparison to what it could have been, but it was solid enough.
I don't really have anything else on that match. So I guess we can go on to our next one.
Mm.
The Hate team of Momo Watanabe, Konami, and Tekla beat Siri, Saki Kashima, and Lady C. Konami beat Saki in 12 minutes with a buzzsaw kick. Um, I think fundamentally this is fine, but I do think the power imbalance is just too much for a 12-minute match. I think Momo, Tekla, and Konami is just nobody on the other side to really counteract that. aside from Suri. So you're just kind of watching these two get beat up, waiting for Suri to get in. But then it didn't build to a Suri hot tag either because the finishing stretch was Saki and Konami. So I don't know. I just think this whole feud is really suffering from the fact that there is such a gap from Suri to her next closest colleague, and it's either her or nothing, basically. Um, so I
Yeah,
do.
and they're doing all this again, like I said last week. They're doing all this to contend against the number 4 in the faction. You know what I mean? Like they're this feud is Shuri versus Konami, and Konami's just cooking God's Eye. And Konami is relatively not very strong in the hate rankings. You know what I
I
mean?
don't know.
She
I
did.
think it's like an even enough top three, four.
I don't know. Like Konami did poorly in the 5 star, just from a kayfabe level. Um, I feel like it just I just feel like all of this is to like overcome Konami, which feels like it's not that big of a deal because like Momo
In
exists
fairness,
and
it's the only
Natsuko
thread
exists
Hate
and
has
Saya
left.
exists.
Yeah, but they're all in the title pictures and stuff. Konami is the only thread that they haven't gotten retribution for. So I'm not opposed to Siri being in this feud and having this direction. I just think she and God's Eye need help to even the playing field in some form.
Hmm. Yeah, I suppose it's strange that they haven't like dipped into Tomoka being like a number 2 for God's Eye since she's on most shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah. I don't know because it's almost
I
like
get
she
why they
is in the
didn't.
group, but she's also not fully in the group.
Yeah,
Um, And I feel like even if you wanted to move Lady C into the temporary number 2, you could probably do that, but she's
she has
kinda
to win a
just below
match.
Saki. Yes, she would have to win, but currently she's kinda below Saki. And they have made Saki look a lot more credible as this feud has gone on, but there's a lot of Saki comedy stank to get rid of before I can view her as a viable number 2 against this onslaught from Hate. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
don't
think
know
this
why
feud
she doesn't
is
just
really
roll up
uphill.
motherfuckers more. I mean, I expect Shuri and Saki to, I kind of think they're just gonna win the belts, frankly, um,
Mm, I don't know.
because I feel like otherwise it's like, what are we kind of doing? Um, in the words of La Seraphim, where the hell is Saki?
Beast. Um, that was that match anyway. I think after this, the card really kicked into high gear. It
That
was
oh,
just good
I will
wrestling from
say
here on out.
2 things about that match. Shuri and Momo always good. Didn't last long
Yes,
enough
well,
to
that was
make this
great.
a
Yeah,
good match, but it was there, and that was cool. And also Saki Kashima losing to Konami and then challenging for the tag belts. Again,
that was beast.
it was very funny. Very
Yes.
funny.
A day after Miyu Amasaki lost and went, I want a number one contenders match.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Um, but Suzu Suzuki beat Tomoka Inaba in 13 minutes with a German suplex. I thought this was a great match. Not quite their JTO match that everybody talks about and loves, obviously. I mean, that was insane.
Great. Yeah.
Um, but I thought this was probably the best Suzu has looked in singles form in a while. This was definitely the Suzu of the Crazy Star run earlier this year. She was really locked in. Um, and I mean, people know what I think about Tomoka at this stage. She's incredibly talented. So I thought it just had a really good, probably great match. And Suzu getting the win is just an easy, hey, we're going to build you up and we're going to, you're going to challenge later in the show, you know?
Yeah, I guess I'm like the odd man out. That I thought that Suzu has been fine throughout, like as a singles wrestler since she came back. Like I thought the Hanan match, the second one, was I probably have that above this one. I thought it was very good. Though I will say this is like this continues to kind of rehab her as a singles
Yeah.
wrestler. And I do think that she still struggles in the opening
The opening.
the
Erp,
early opening sections of the
erp,
match. Her early opening, you know,
erp.
in the opening sectionings, man, now I'm just all fucked up. In the opening sections of the match, I think that Suzu still kind of struggles, but her closing stretches still hit like crack,
Yeah.
frankly. And I think that's what you really have to look at here. In a similar sense to Sai Kamatani, except I think Suzu has is still a lot better. Um, I thought this was a very good match. I agree. Not as great as their previous one, but I do think that like this gives me more hope for Suzu returning to good form for like the Tam match, for example. Um, Now, would I have ran the Tam match within the next month? Probably not. But you know, there's a tag league that's about to happen. They don't really have
Oh
much
shit,
time.
yeah. Forgot about that. Speaking of Tag League, our next match was Mayu Iwatani and Hanan taking on Azumi and Miyu Amasaki. Hanan got the win for her team in 14.5 minutes with a backdrop driver over at Miyu Amasaki. And I thought this was another really good match. Just fell below, I think, the other top matches in terms of quality, but it was right up there. Um, it's always nice to see Hanan do well. I think they're really building her up steadily for something. I wouldn't be shocked if she has a big white belt match coming soon, just based on how they've rehabbed her after the weird losing streak. Um, and yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a pretty good match.
I think they showed their hand. I think that it's going to be Hazuki Tekla Hanan for Natsupoi. Um,
Oh
that
yeah,
number one contenders
that would make
match.
sense. Yes.
Uh, but yeah, that was a very good match. I loved Miyu. Excuse me. I loved Miyu in this. I thought that she was spamming DDTs, and I was like, that's what it's all about. Um,
Yeah, it goes
I
without
was
saying, Miyu Amasaki kicks ass.
Yeah, I was watching this with Scott, and we kind of realized that every single time O2 line tags together, it's like they remind you, oh yeah, they're like really fucking good together. Like,
Yeah,
cause
yeah,
you
they're
know
great.
Miyu's good, you know Zumi's good, but O2 line, it's like, oh okay, that'll be cool. Then you forget that it's like, oh no, they're like really, really good as a tag team. And I thought that showed off here. Honestly, I'm kind of shocked that I don't have any notes on Mayu, because I just realized I don't really remember Mayu doing much in this match. She did well, obviously. That was a very, very good match in general. But
Mhm.
yeah, it was just sort of a preview for a match that might just not happen now. So that's fun.
I think it's gonna happen, but yeah, I know what you mean. Because afterwards, Mayu and Azumi were doing a stare down, and Mayu was holding up the IWGP belt until Timeless Tony Storm appeared on the monitor and cut a promo challenging Mayu in Nagoya for the IWGP Women's Championship. So that's a surprise. I thought like I knew Tony was taking the kind of the time off AEW, like being written off after the loss, but I didn't actually expect it to pop up in Japan. Um, I really like that they brought up the title switch because she said people have said me winning the world title was a mistake, and obviously there's a lot of new fans. They probably don't realize Tony only won the belt because Mayu got injured during that
Yeah.
match. Like she did a drop kick or something and just hurt her arm. Was it? She like
Yeah,
broke her arm.
the same injury Sukasa had
Yeah, like
in
the
the
exact
Mayu
same
match.
one. And so Mayu
Same
forfeit the
same
match
bump
and lost
even,
the belt to
where
Tony Storm.
it's just like off of a big kick when you
Yeah.
like brace for a bump, like you just
Hmm.
fuck up your arm. Same type of bump as the Sukasa Mayu match that ended earlier
Yeah.
this year, which
So
is pretty impressive.
like people don't know whether Tony was going to
Mhm.
win either way. But she didn't actually beat Mayu. Mayu had to forfeit due to an injury, and so
They
that's
did
always
run the match
you know,
back, but by then they were already like, okay, Tony's gonna lose the belt to someone else, which ended
yeah,
up being Kagetsu. So Tony beat Mayu in the rematch, but
yeah.
yeah, so it was never.
We never really figured it out. So there was always that kind of dot next to Tony's world title run. So I actually think it's really cool of her to bring that back up and be like, "Hey, I haven't forgotten. I do want to beat you. I want to prove I'm better than you properly." Um, and I think it's a cool enough match to run. I don't know if Tony Storm has much drawing power with the modern Stardom audience. I mean, it's similar to Kyrie. Like her big run came when they were drawing 700 to 800 people, right? Like I haven't
Hmm.
gone back to look at the numbers, but I can't imagine post EO they were doing all that well at Corkin. Um, so Tony Storm really, you're either relying on a big AEW bump or this match isn't gonna draw at all, which is fine. I mean, if it's a good match and that's all, and it gets people to watch who are casual fans, then that's fine. Um, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think Tony has always been somebody who can be dragged to greatness. I think her and Jamie Hayter have had really great matches. I think Mayu is probably better than Jamie Hayter. No offense to Jamie Hayter, but Mayu Iwatani is Mayu Iwatani, right?
Yeah.
So if Jamie Hayter and Tony Storm can have a great match, surely Mayu and Tony could
I mean,
have a
even
great
even
match.
Tony and Mariah can have a great match. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
like, yeah, I think that that can be good. Um, and I think it'll be a bigger bump than like Willow was, and Willow came over, and that was fun for the
yeah.
10 match. So I think, the fact that it's not like this huge big time match is good enough. As in like it'll probably get second from the top, semi main, maybe
Mhm.
third from the top. Uh Hopefully second from the top because I Natsupo and Tekla is kind of probably there. We don't know for sure, I don't think. Maybe, I don't know. I would probably put Mayu and Tony over Natsupo and Tekla
Yeah, I
respectfully.
would too. Honestly, I think the IWGP belt would go over it for
Yeah, and
me.
it should for all intents and purposes. So yeah, I mean, it's not the main event, so I think that's kind of like an important thing to look at there as well.
Mm.
Is that it's like, it's a cool match. Like I don't really mind it. I will say, when Tony Storm showed up on the screen, I was like, oh boy, that's great.
Yeah.
Especially as someone who was like gearing up for that Mayu Azumi match.
Are
Them
they
just
just
kind of
doing
being
that
like,
as
hey,
crossover
first,
now, or what's the story? Like
that's
they're
what it's
waiting
looking
on it a
like.
lot, and I don't know what's after Nagoya. I think it is just
Which
crossover.
Yeah, and it's a bit strange because I feel like crossover, like Azumi has tag partners that would be like that
Yeah,
they would
I
probably
don't
want to
like.
focus
I
on.
My question is, I don't see Azumi as a crossover title match
That too.
worthy wrestler.
Well,
Because you're going from
yeah.
Mayu and Kyrie to
Well, to be
Mayu and
fair,
Azumi.
Azumi's wrestled and represented New Japan more than like anybody else other than Mayu
That's true,
and
I
Mina.
suppose. I can
She's
see
like the
why they
number
might
three
do it, but I would have thought
of
they'd run a
those.
bigger match at a Star crossover. Nothing against Azumi, but I just don't see her on that
I
top
think I
tier
think that's
level,
literally just is that Azumi's wrestled New Japan proper. She's wrestled
Probably, yeah.
in American New Japan. She's wrestled on AEW as a New Japan import type of thing. Uh, in the build to Forbidden Door. So, or it was a bit before Forbidden Door, but you know what I mean? Like, so I
Mm.
think that just her being the Americana type
Yeah.
of challenger in the roster is why she's probably getting that spot. Though I would probably think I would swap it and have Azumi face Mayu and Nagoya and then Mayu face Tony at crossover. That
Yeah,
probably
I
would have
wonder
made
if
more
Tony's gonna be
sense.
back on AEW by
Yeah,
then, though.
I think
'Cause
that's probably
I don't know how
what
much
we're
they
looking
can
at.
drag this Mariah May reign out until they do that rematch, you know? I think that's
Yeah,
the big
well,
question.
you know,
Yeah. But yeah, I'm interested. I wonder if they don't really do this now. Like, I don't think Taro Okada does this, like a preview tag, because there's a Korakuen late in September. You could maybe do a
well,
Tony and somebody else versus Mayu and Azumi or
yeah,
something.
maybe. I don't know. I think Mayu's like out for a while. I think she's just
She's out
taking
for
some
2
time
shows.
off.
She's
Yeah.
off
Oh,
the next 2, yeah.
is it
Yeah, yeah,
only
she's
2
on the
shows?
cards after that, yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I'm not sure. I doubt Tony Storm comes in for anything.
Yeah, I don't know. Which is a shame, it'd be nice to get her on a cork, and I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, they don't really do that as much, I think that's more of a Rossi thing of him being like, "Well, we need to build you up to the match,"
Well,
Taro's just like, "We're gonna do it."
they do a lot of preview tags. I just don't think Tony's gonna get one.
Not for, like, the outsider stuff, though. That's what I'm
Yeah.
thinking. You know how, like, Hashimoto was built up for, like, 3 or 4 months before the Siri match? I
Yeah.
don't think
Yeah,
Taro
that
Okada would
Mirai
do that. He would
match,
just
I
do the
still think
Siri
about that.
match. That was so fun. That was so good. Um, yeah, that was all of that. Keep sending the good wrestlers, Toneth and Khan. We're happy to see him. Get Chris Statlander over here. Let's do it. We've been asking for her for months. Do it.
Give me Jamie back.
Um,
Give me Jamie back.
yes, do it. I don't think we're gonna get Jamie. She's busy. But our next match was the Wonder of Stardom Championship match. Natsupoi retained against Hazuki in 19 minutes with a fairy magic. Um, I thought this was great, and I have seen people
Mhm.
who didn't love it all that much. But I accepted Hazuki was not winning, so I wasn't as bitter as everybody else. Um, I thought they did really, really well. I thought Hazuki was turned on, like she was locked in to make this the best
Is
match
she
she
ever
could.
not? Is she ever not in these
She seemed extra
situations?
locked in though. She was like, "I'm gonna beat the piss out of you,
And
Natsupoi,"
I mean,
and I
I
thought that was
think
great.
I think a fascinating aspect of this match is that the crowd was like especially dead in this one. I think they were kind of like
They were great. I thought Hazuki got them
well,
into
that but that's
into
the
the
thing.
match.
I
She
think
brought them to life.
this match went 19 minutes. I feel like the first 9 or so minutes they were sitting like they were actively trying not to make any noise. Like that's how it felt.
I suppose.
And again, I think it might have been because the eye contact tag was a bit more high energy, and it maybe got as much of the crowd as they thought they can give. But yeah, I thought that Hazuki really demanded the crowd about halfway through, and it really amplified from there. Yeah, I coined the phrase that I think Hazuki's probably the best Wonder of Stardom Championship wrestler of all time, because like this was a great match, and it was still one of her weaker white belt
Yeah.
matches, and it
No,
was
that's fair.
still like a great match. Like she doesn't have anything but those for this belt.
Hmm.
For any singles belt, frankly, I mean the B match is probably the only outlier out of any of her top singles title matches. But I digress. This was tremendous. I liked the involvement that they were kind of both calling back to Kyrie in a way. Like
Yeah, the
Hazuki had been talking
anchor.
a lot about how she had promised Kyrie that she would get the white belt.
Mm,
And Kyrie was her first white belt challenge was against Kyrie years ago.
yeah.
And not supposed like, well, I know Kyrie more than anybody. You don't be talking about my girl's name like that. And
Mhm.
like I
Yeah.
thought that was a cool little thing. Obviously Hazuki got the what I called the Kyrie tamer because she did the cross legged, but she did it on the neck, and I was just like, oh damn, that was
Yeah.
fucking sick. But yeah, I thought this was just a great match. I think Hazuki has the ability to really get you. You know what I mean? Just like really like capture your attention. And
Apparently so, because people were not happy. They were upset.
well, this happens
Um,
every time. This
yeah,
happens
oh,
every
yeah,
single time she
dude.
challenges for the white belt.
I'm aware.
Like I
I
mean,
lived through the Jungle Kyona days. I am aware.
yeah.
The Jungle
Um,
Kyona days were something. Oh my
but like
goodness.
even you look at the Sai Kamatani match. Everybody knew from the minute my Mina returned that Mina was going to take the belt off of
Yes.
Saya.
Yeah.
Uh, And still, people were pissed that Hazuki didn't take the belt of Saya a
Mm.
month earlier, including me. And I think I was right for that ultimately because where did it end up? Double belt
With
Tam
Tam.
randomly
Yeah.
dropping to Mirai. Give me
Oh, yeah.
Hazuki. Give me
I
Mirai over
totally forgot
Hazuki
Mariah
any
got the
day.
white belt. That is crazy. That reign was
Yeah,
so mid.
uh, yeah. We don't talk about it.
Not
The
to get
match was
not
good
to get
though.
too. Oh, I had a part of the match that I really liked.
Oh, you.
When Hazuki tried to like no sell and fire up, and I was like, I'm coming to life, and that's where just put her down. I thought that was great because so often in Joshi and Stardom and Marigold, the wrestlers will like no sell and they fire up and they just keep going. But for Nat's boy to be like, no, you lose. I thought it was really cool because it's like, okay, you can try to no sell, but you're not gonna it's not gonna work. She's gonna beat you. That was one of the two actually because Mirai did a really cool bit of no selling as well. So I thought that was really good when Hazuki tried to fire up and Natsupoi just went, nope, I am winning. It was a nice
Yeah,
refreshing change.
I agree. I thought Natsuko had a good performance here as well. I'm not
Yeah,
crazy
yeah,
about her winning with the roll up again. Um,
yeah.
Especially considering how much like bone crunching finishers she has. She just ends up winning with the roll up. Uh, I feel like given just like the story of the match, Natsupoi probably should have won a bit more dominantly. Um,
Yeah, possibly.
and I also think that would have made me a little bit less sad that Hazuki lost.
I
Um,
am interested in the post match though. I think they
yeah,
very clearly stuck on Hazuki walking away with her head in her hands. They even wrote it in their little report on the match. They
Hazuki
made sure to
has
point
not
out that she
tweeted
was distraught.
since the
She didn't do
match.
backstage comments either, or at least the English account didn't post any. So like they're
No, I
really
don't think she
selling
did.
that she is upset about this. And I think Kara Okada especially is so obvious about stuff that this is clearly going somewhere. Hazuki losing this match is going to go somewhere. So I'm very intrigued as to where it leads. Is she going to the dark side? Is she breaking away from stars like we all expected when she first joined? Is she gonna, go, I have to win or else and maybe like put something on the line? Like I feel like this isn't the last we've seen of Hazuki in the title picture for now. And I'm really intrigued as to where it actually goes.
Yeah, I'm intrigued yet a bit terrified about Hazuki's future prospects. Um, because yeah, I don't know if I trust as much in Okada as
You don't gotta
others.
trust him, but I think he's doing something, which is always better than nothing.
I wouldn't say it's always better than nothing.
Uh, I don't know.
It's
I've seen
often
enough
better than
promotions
nothing.
where nothing happens to know that it's better to have something.
Oh no,
And
something is Tekla trying to get Natsupoi to join hate, and I think I would rather her not
yeah,
do
that
that.
was
I think
all
that's
really
kind of dumb.
strange. I don't really get that. They did the whisper thing again, and she put the towel around her and then walked off, and I just kind of went, "That is so hate. That is prime
See,
hate
but
feud
that's
right there."
something, and I would
And I
rather
just
that be
thought, you
nothing.
know what?
That's
It's
my
fine.
that's my point.
Well, yeah, but Natsuko's not going to join them, so it's
Well,
fine. But yeah,
I
that
thought the
was
same
that.
thing with like
Tekla is probably our
5
next
people.
challenger because they are running 2 preview tags where she is teaming with Suzu. Yeah, it's Suzu and Tekla against Meltier. I think it's happening twice on the house show loop.
What? Twice?
Um,
What? Okay.
yeah, I don't
Uh,
know.
yeah, I mean, Tekla came out with fucking War Dogs merch on. And I was like, oh my god, I
Yeah,
can't believe this is a match we're about to
that was on the
do.
nose. Very on the nose.
Yeah, the
That's a
War
real make or
Bitch.
break match for Tekla. I think if she doesn't deliver there, people are going to really write her off. Whether rightly or wrongly, I think you have to deliver and you have to get people talking sometimes, or you're
Yeah.
just going to miss the mark. So that's a real legacy game for her.
And hey,
Um,
I will go into that match with an open mind, as open of a mind as possible.
yeah,
But
I mean, it's
she definitely
Natsupoi,
can't
it's the white
outlive it.
belt. Stranger things have happened for the white belt.
Mhm.
But yeah, in our main event, Tam Nakano beat Micah in 22 and a half minutes with the Twilight Dream. Um, Tam sold the knee a little bit. She ran down the ramp but couldn't run, and then was fine to do the finishing stretch. Um, I don't know what anybody else thinks. I thought it was like good, but I didn't love it.
Oh,
Um,
I really liked it.
this felt like Tam trying to do a Julia match, but without the
Mhm.
spark that Julia usually brings to these. Like this felt very much like a Julia match. Like if I could paint you a Julia match from the beginning, it would have looked a lot like this. And I don't think Tam always did this for her big matches. Um, so I don't know. I thought it was good, but not great. Um, and that was kind of it. I don't know. I didn't have much else
Which
to
is
say about
fascinating
it.
because I thought this was like a real. It was really Micah showing that's like she's not bad after a pretty mediocre 5-star run. Um, I feel like every year I forget that Micah is just way better wrestling over 15 minutes. Funnily enough,
Yeah, I feel like
uh,
that only applies to you because I thought Micah was still good. So, no.
I don't think that only applies to me. I think the general
Well, on this
consensus was that
show,
Micah
it
did
only
not
applies
have
to you.
that
I can't speak
strong
to anybody else.
of a. I don't. Yeah, there's two of us. But I think that Micah had a way stronger performance here than she has that she had like at any point during the 5-star. Maybe her Mayu match, Azumi match. I don't know.
Yeah,
The only ones that can really stack up to this one because that was a lot of good, a lot of fun. I think Tam does deserve credit for how much of a beating she's been taking recently.
yeah,
Uh, she just really like gets her ass beaten. I appreciate that. It's not like a, you know, I thought this one had its dumb moments, but I feel like Tam has been way more willing to just be like, you know what? Okay, I know I like my lore, but you can just beat the fuck out of me in the name of lore, and
Tam has
that will
always loved
be
her head drops and shit. She's
yes.
a beast at that.
But usually they will be they would be preluded and followed up with like a minute of her just sitting there looking menacing and the other person sitting there looking menacing. They did that one spot in this match where they did that, but not that lasted like 10 seconds, not like 5, which sometimes felt like they would do in Tam matches once upon a time.
Yeah,
I'm looking at the My Sakurai matches, especially in that sense. Uh, but yeah, I think this match was very good. Uh, Closing stretch was a bit odd. I felt like they repeated the exact same sequence like 3 times, and I was like, wait a minute, what? Did I just watch that? I could have swore that you just what? Like straight up, like from the reversal to the this, and then I was like, wait, you just did that uh like 30 seconds ago. Did I? Huh? But I thought the match was good. I thought that and we kind of argued about this. I think that everything surrounding the match was a little dumb.
yeah,
I felt like this was probably the biggest match they could possibly run, and the atmosphere felt like it was nothing. The build felt like it was relatively weak, even though it was the entire 5-star building to this. It still felt like it didn't really contribute to the match's vibe. I felt like coming out of it, Mike just being like, "Eh, it happens," is a bit odd. I
I don't
feel
know.
like
I felt like they put the title over as the ultimate prize there by being like, I could win the GP, but when it came time to beat you for the world title, I couldn't do it. I think that's just like
which is
to win the
wrestling
world title
101.
is the ultimate.
Yeah, but I also feel like Micah Micah was like, "Well, at least you didn't cheat." And I was like, "I mean, yeah, I guess, but like
Yeah, but that's just
that's
Japanese
I don't know. I
wrestling, and
I think
that's
I
how
think
they
a
approach
lot
it.
of I think a lot of the stuff that surround this match was a bit eye roll worthy.
I
The
guess,
match
yeah.
itself I thought was very good though.
Yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah, I did think some of the takes were a little bit over the top. The 5 star isn't dead. They haven't killed the five
Well,
star.
no, they
If your
didn't.
favorite
I
wins it
think
next year, you're going to be just as excited.
the
Like
five
winning
star
the five
still
star is the
matters,
reward. You
but I
know?
think the and you're gonna roll your eyes at this statement. I think the legacy of the 2024 5 star just feels very lame. I just feel like it just
I
the
don't know.
matches were good. Like there were some good matches, but there were also two really not good blocks. Um, the winner came out of one of those blocks undefeated and won the entire tournament in a final that this is a me take. I didn't particularly like. I thought it was long and pretty bland for a lot of it. And then she follows it up with 2 weeks later, within 6 weeks of her losing the red belt the first time, uh, is vanquished pretty firmly by Tam. It's just like, well, that was a lot harder than the 5 star, and I was like, that's a strange way to put it. I get it, and I understand, but I felt like everything surrounding the 5 star this year, and I feel like I said, this show was kind of the culmination of the 5 star and what came out of the 5 star. I feel like it was a good show with some good wrestling that did not culminate the summer in the way I would have liked it to. I think it did kind of poorly at doing that. Even going to the Saya Kamatani of it all, where it's like, oh, because we talked about this in a text exchange, where it's like, what did we really get out of this tournament? And it was that Saya Kamatani got put over as a top heel, Micah got put over huge, and Tam got this huge babyface story to overcome Natsuko at the end of the of the tournament on the last day. I felt like Michael was already like firmly there because she had the good title run that was ended in a less than savory way. It felt like she could have at any point just came back and won the belt because I mean once she lost it, that was why I was expecting to happen was Micah to get the belt back from Natsuko. So I don't think this tournament necessarily moved the needle in that regard. I think Sai Kamatani is bad. I think Tam did well in the tournament. So I think as a culmination of the tournament, this show kind of proved some of the things that I thought were wrong with it and did not vindicate the things that I thought were wrong with it, which is what
Okay.
I kind of took from it.
I don't know if we can unpack all of that because there's so much, and we would
Mhm.
argue for hours.
Probably.
The majority of it boils down to me being like, well, wrestling is stupid. So that's kind of where I always approach it from. Pro
You
wrestling
know,
is undoubtedly stupid, but you
yes,
just
but I
gotta roll
also,
with it
from
sometimes.
a philosophical standpoint, I also
All
no,
right,
I
here.
also think
All
no,
right.
there's a very recently, and not to get political, but recently there was a Republican like talking head on the news that was like, "Yeah, but does it matter?" And I was just like, "You do know your job is to talk about why it matters.
Yeah.
You can't just be like, "Well, none of this matters. Why would we talk about it? None of this matters." It's like by that standpoint, you shouldn't. Why do you talk for an hour every day? Why do you
Yeah.
why do you have this job? If throw your hands up, well, you know
So
that's
I'm
my
I'm I'm a Republican talking head.
a little bit, not inherently,
All right.
but
All
I
right.
do think
Um,
it's th- it's easier to just be like whatever, but I think it's
but it's not
more
whatever. It's just pro wrestling is stupid. Tam is the ace babyface of the universe. You've got to accept that all roads lead through Tam, and
yeah.
the tournament served the purpose to elevate Micah, Saya Kamatani, and ultimately Tam Nakano because she
I
beat
think it
Cora
only
after going
really
over.
I think it really only serviced Tam.
I mean, if you
Which,
want to
hey,
say
that's
that, yes,
good.
but
That's
even
good. I
still,
mean, she had a
she's
great
the
tournament.
ace. Yeah,
She had a
she's the
great
ace.
summer.
I mean, that's how it goes. I mean, even her post-match promo, like, and I don't know if people really saw this, but she was like, I lost on matches. You might lose and you're worn out and you hit rock bottom, but the important thing is how you climb back up. That is her entire. She's the ace babyface. That's her entire vibe. So I feel like that's the whole point of her character. You can like that or not like that. That's a different thing entirely. But as somebody who is very much ace babyface pilled, I'm all in on Tam just being the be all end all. It's really
Yeah,
funny.
I feel like a lot of the Alex had to mute and leave the podcast for a moment. I feel like Micah losing two world title matches in 2 months, and in between those two title matches, winning every single match against so many people. I think that's funny. I mean, I felt like Micah walked away from this Tam match kind of looking like a geek, and she didn't help it with her statements backstage and her statements to Tokyo Sports. I just feel like she kind of walked away uh, looking like hmm, she walked away looking like 2022 Micah. 2020, early 2023 Micah. She walked away looking like that more than she did looking like the former world champion as of a couple months ago, as the undefeated winningest 5-star competitor, the strongest 5-star performance ever from a kayfabe level. I feel like she didn't walk away looking like that. She walked away looking like she did after her 17 other red belt challenges. She just looked kind of like a geek, for better or for worse.
Yeah. All right. Stardom. I don't know. I had very little to say about that pay-per-view. I just kind of ended up arguing with you over everything.
I will say
So
one brief thing. I am cautiously excited for Gauze Tag League, and I feel like I am every year, and it usually disappoints me. But I think that for all of the messiness and all of the incongruities and the things I don't like about Stardom, I do like their tag division. I do like their tag team formula. I think that the tag team champions kind of suck ass right now, but I think that the third from which one went last? Did Eye Contact go after Tomoka and
yeah.
yeah, the match third from the top, that Eye Contact versus O2 line. That was a very good match. Now I thought most of this year Stardom, at the very least had tag team wrestling on lock. So I am kind of excited, cautiously excited for the tag league this year because I don't know, it's interesting to me. And
Okay.
right now I think tag team wrestling, as we've seen in AEW, can really make or break a fan base. Like that's something that's like it's like if it regardless of your feelings about the world title program of your women's title program in male dominated companies, regardless of all of that, if you have a good tag division, you can be like, hey, well at least we have this. And when you don't, it really feels like there's like something like a chunk missing. So I'm hoping that for all of Stardom's ups and downs this year, that their tag division can kind of pick it up and give a strong finish to the year. Because I don't know what the fuck's going on. Frankly, I don't know what else we're doing. Like, do you know? Do you have any inkling of an idea what's going to be the year end matches?
Yes.
What do you think?
Tam, Saya, and Natsupoi versus Hanan
Hmm.
or Kid.
I think whoever I think Natsupoi probably makes it through the year as champion and then
Yeah.
loses it to Hanan or Kid next year, early next year.
Maybe.
Uh, I think she beats one of them at year end and then loses it to the other early next year. That's kind of what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, I feel like I just don't know what the fuck's going on. I feel like a lot of the stuff is a bit strange. I'm not super keen on, but a good God League will really do
Okay.
wonders. I think.
Stardom is running 5 times in the next 7
Yes.
days, and quite frankly, no, we will not be previewing all of this. We're just gonna pick through some of the interesting bits. So one thing that stands out is Rian is having a triumphant homecoming against Micah on the 19th, and every other show she is teaming with EXV. So you know what's gonna happen there? She is going to join EXV. There are some
Ooh,
interesting like lower card singles matches. Aya
yeah,
Sakura is wrestling Raka.
I
I think
saw that. Yeah.
Saida is wrestling Aya Sakura, which is really cool. They are running a Miyu Amasaki versus Rani Yagami singles match. And then there's two preview tags for, as I said, the Hecla and Suzu are against Meltier. And then on the 22nd, there's an Artist of Stardom Championship match. Tam, Natsupoi, and Ano are defending against Natsuko Tora, Saya Kamatani, and Rocca. So that's fun.
Hmm.
Could definitely see a
Choice.
switch there. Unless they pin Rocca and then Hate have to come back with a stronger team, which they might
I
do.
don't think Hate's winning the trios. I think that Hate has the tags, and I
Yeah, I
think
suppose.
tying all of it up in Hate is probably not great. But at the same
No,
time, it's like,
not at all.
what are we doing? I mean, Hate is kind of futile at this exact second, so there's
Yeah.
nothing to be done outside of get them the artist spots, I guess.
There's one match on the 22nd here, or the 23rd. It's Tam, Natsupo, and Unimon against Suzu, Starlight Kid, and Azumi. That's a sweet match. I like that.
You know,
Um,
there's a match, this tag match from the 19th that Suzu and Kid against Meltier is the main event.
yeah, I like that.
That'll probably be good. Yeah, I mean, there's
There's
a
some
lot
good
of
stuff
matches.
dotted in here. Yeah, it's just kind of like there's a lot, and I mean, it's all this is all like Aomori and Sendai and Niigata, so there's not a lot probably going to happen on these shows, which is why I don't really feel a need to dive as deep into them. Like I just think they're house shows, you know. That's kind of it.
House shows without
Um,
Mayu, by the way, most of them.
yeah, so Mayu and Tekla are off the shows on the 18th and 19th. They are both injured and taking those days off, but they are back for the 21st, which is in Sendai. I didn't realize that all of this starts tomorrow, so that's fun.
Wait a second,
Yeah,
are you sure Mayu's on these shows?
yes, go to the 21st, and she is with Momokogo in the three-way tag.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
she's just not on this one.
she's not on the 18th or 19th. Yes,
Well, no, she's not. Oh yeah, she's right there.
yeah,
Uh, yeah, she is. I guess I was just wrong, off by a day.
indeed. Yeah, that's Stardom. We're gonna switch it all up now, and we're gonna head to the Golden Fields, where Marigold ran two shows for the Dreamstar Grand Prix. So, last week I was told that Cage Match had some of the results and times. Well, not results. The results were all correct, but the times were wrong for some of the matches, and they've done the same this week. I think there's one where they've chopped off half the time. That's because they're getting their news from like Shoe Pro, and Shoe Pro are getting it wrong. So I'm going to use a different website this time for the times and the results. I'm just going to hope that this one is actually correct because that's all I really got. So um, the first show was on the 14th of September in Shinkiba First Ring. I don't think there's any news from Marigold over the past week. They don't really do news all that much anymore, so it's just kind of the shows. But they just sell out 284 fans here in Shinkiba First, which is have they like failed to sell out any of their shows in Shinkiba First since starting up?
No,
Um,
I
it
mean
would be a shame if
Shinkiba's
they did.
their one pretty much.
Yeah. Usually we don't watch the undercard, but on this show, Utami Hayashishita, Mirai, and Misa Matsui beat Miko Aono, Natsumi Suzuki, and Chika Goto in 7.5 minutes in a match to celebrate Utami's birthday.
Hmm.
Woo! It was just a
Utami,
sprint tag. It was fun.
yeah, Utami clobbered Mirai, which was very funny.
She did, and she
Um,
did it on purpose too. She was like, I enjoyed that. That was my
she didn't even
birthday
do it on
wish.
purpose. She was just like, I do not feel bad. Fuck you.
Yeah.
I mean, because the day before, Mirai went to the newspaper and was talking about how Utami fucking sucks ass,
Ooh.
um, and how she's not good no more. And that was followed up in their match at Korkin. Um,
All right.
but yeah, that was a really fun match. I enjoyed it.
Okay, we then got into a Dreamstar action in the Star League as Sareee beat Chiaki in just under 7 minutes with a diving double foot stomp. This was really well done. I thought,
Yeah.
Chiaki being like, you can talk shit about Marigold, but I don't suck. And she just went for Sareee. And Sareee was honestly on the back foot for a little bit, especially because Chiaki was not shy about targeting the injured wrist. And then Sareee just kind of was like, "All right, it's time to put you away." And she acted like it was easy, even though she did get quite a fight. Oh, and Jackie's forearms, crazy good.
Yeah. I thought Shiaki looked great here. I was bummed by the match's card placement initially, but then like they just maximized their minutes. You know, what I mean, they just really went
Hmm.
at it and had a very strong performance, especially from Chiaki here. Saree's always going to have a strong performance. It feels like so. It's more important to kind of center Chiaki, who did a great job bringing the fight to Sareee and having this heel performance against Sareee that made it feel like Sareee was in actual danger, even if Sareee said she wasn't. Um, I think
Easy.
Chiaki's ability to like step up and play Saree's game was sick, and you could see Sareee like get excited over it. She was like, "Yeah, somebody who's actually here to try to beat me up. Like this is cool," and it just really worked completely. I really like the match, and yeah, it was very funny that after getting her ass beat and winning, Saree's like, "That was easy." And I was like, "Are you sure?" Jai was
I
kind of
love
like,
Sareee. I love
She was
Sareee
kind
so
of
much.
fucking killing you, man." Like, I mean, like
She's such
obviously
a beast.
you were doing well. It wasn't a complete dominance from Chiaki, but like you were getting hurt. Like you were getting beefed out. But yeah, thought that was funny.
In the Dream League, then Koki beat Victoria Yuzuki in 10.5 minutes with the Amethyst Butterfly. That was a really well done match. I thought
Mhm.
Yuzuki was able to really step up here. I thought Koki did her bits well. Um, I thought they just both came away from this looking really good. Yuzuki, some of the stuff that we've seen her try and fail on house shows, she actually managed to pull off here. And I thought it was like, you know what, the trial and error was worth it. So yeah, I thought this was a really good showing for both of them, and a real stop doubting Koki performance from Koki.
Yeah, Koki's had a good run of tournament matches so far. I think this was
Mm,
another really good one. I kind of forget that Yuzuki and Koki have good chemistry, and they do. Like they just work very well off each other. That was really showcased here. Very, very good
yeah.
match. Yeah, I think Koki's had a surprisingly high level tournament relative to the field, and I think that's impressive because the tournament, like everybody in the tournament has done pretty well for the most part.
Yeah.
Um, so Koki being one of the strongest members is really cool to see.
All right. In the Dream League, then Nagisa Nozaki and Nori wrestled to a 15-minute time limit draw. I thought it was a really well done match again. I don't even think Nagisa Nozaki hit top gear. She was just like, I'm
No,
going in second gear, but Nori is so extra that this is going to work either way. And I thought they did work. I thought it was nice to see Nozaki kind of throwing her own stuff back at Nori. Um, yeah, Nori was the real star of the show.
yeah, I thought it was very very good. I thought that it did the time of the draw did do a little damage, just because I don't think Nozaki's great in time limit draws. I think that like she's better in a match that builds to a finish, obviously, and I didn't think that this was what that was. So I think Nozaki was a bit nerfed by the time limit draw, but I thought Nori did a really good job for what she could do in that, and I think Nozaki had a good showing nonetheless. So I was pretty happy with it. Um, I Nori is just a really smart striking wrestler and really smart with some of her like more realistic sequences. She like pretended to go to kick Nozaki's leg and then just grabbed a knee bar, and I thought that was like a really cool spot early into the match. Was like just the thought going into some of the stuff she does. And I thought that was really cool, and Nori got to kind of play a babyface role, which she hasn't necessarily gotten to
Mm,
up to this point. So I thought she looked good in that sense as well. Even like the sloppy parts, like the more messy parts, I thought they kind of looked gritty more than they looked, out of
mm,
place. So I thought this match was good as well. Though,
all right.
like I said, I think it would have been better with a finish, just
Yes.
given Nozaki's style.
All right. In the Star League, then, Nanai Takahashi beats Kazuna Tanaka in 10 minutes with a brainbuster. Kazuna Tanaka pulled out the Ayumi Kurihara gear.
Hmm.
Shouts out Ayumi Kurihara one time. And she was really trying here, and Nanai just kind of beat her down. It was very much in the vein of a passion injection match. Very one-sided towards Nanai. Izuna kind of got brief comebacks that I thought were well done, but Nanai really just kind of walked away with it. This is probably the most bland of Nanai's tournament matches. Um, But I don't think that's anyone's fault. There's really only so much Kazuna can do when she really only has the drop kicks and a roll up or two in her
and some arm
bag.
bars.
Yeah,
I like this. I liked it quite a lot. I think I was the high man on this one though. Uh, just
you
in
are so
general.
biased towards Kazuna. It is insane.
This is correct. I love Kazuna Tanaka, and
Yeah,
I thought she did good here. I thought that like her being able to step to Nanai was really important. I think that like looking back at the Yuzuki Nanai match, the first Marigold match, I thought that like the one thing Yuzuki kind of struggled with was really stepping to Nanai in like a meaningful way. I thought Kazuna was able to do that, even though I would still probably put this on par with that match, uh, just because I think Kazuna has less in her back pocket than Yuzuki does. I still think that like what she was able to do with just like walking up to Nine, slapping the shower, like I think that that was cool. You know, what I mean, I
yeah.
think that Kazuna brought what she needed to this match to make it a good one. Um, and yeah, I enjoyed it quite a lot. I think Nanai is just
All right.
Nanai. Like I think that's also the thing.
Yeah,
Is
Nanai's
I'm starting to
Nanai.
I'm starting to realize that it's like we can't really rate wrestlers based off their Nanai matches because it's like it's not fair. Uh,
Yeah.
like because like look at Bozilla. If you
Mm,
look at Bozilla's top three matches, two of them are against Nanai.
yeah.
Like probably the two best ones are against an eye. So it's like, you know, what
Yeah,
else
I
you
don't know.
got?
That tag was good. The debut tag.
Yeah, I did mention that the other
There's
day.
also
That
one three-way that she was in with like Yuzuki and Utami that was great as well.
oh
I
yeah,
feel like
the
everybody
second
forgot
show
about it. Yeah,
that was
that
very
was
fun.
kicked ass. I love that. Um, Speaking of Bozilla though, she was in our main event in the Star League. Mai Sakurai beats Bozilla in 11 minutes and 40 seconds via a countout after Paradise locking her to the entrance way. Um, Absolutely genius finish. I
Hmm.
never would have expected they would do that to Mozilla. It was incredible. I thought the match we got before that was really well done as well. Mai Sakurai, despite trying to be Julia now, was very capable in that like babyface spot of trying to like get in her bits. Doing reversals into DDTs and like doing forearms and trying to fire back from the headbutts and stuff like that. Um, like I thought it was really good, and then the finish just kind of took it over the top. It was really fun.
Yeah, I think this was probably like my least favorite from the show. But with that being said, I thought that it was still good. I thought everything on the show was pretty good. Every tournament match, I should say. Um, I thought it was a lot of fun. You know, what I mean, like
Yeah,
I think that was more what I got from it was that it was fun to watch because Sakurai was selling every move she took or did like she was about to die. I thought that was really
yeah,
cool. And I thought that the finish was very funny. You know what I mean? So I think that like generally I had a really fun time, a good time watching this, though it's, not my favorite match of the tournament. I thought it was a lot of fun. And I thought that like the post match and the finish and post match was a lot of fun bits as well. Where, obviously my Sakurai wins via count out. And then you just see Chiaki in the background walk up to Bozilla, looking at her like, "How you let her do you like this?" And just like getting her out, and just being like, "Yeah, you can go kill her now." Like I think the little like Chiaki being pro Bozilla is like a funny, like way of like the only there was nobody else that was about to help Bozilla, and Chiaki's like, "Oh brother."
Mhm.
she's like, "Man, you can't let them do you like this." That was funny. And then Bill's Bozilla coming in, darting for the ring. My Sakurai, getting out of dodge like she was avoiding a
She's so
assassination
funny.
attempt. You know what I mean? Like they
Yeah,
like covered her head, just like, "Let's get out of here." And Bozilla's straight jacketed in the ring. I thought that was all a lot of fun, and I thought that was like the fun match that I don't think Bozilla and my Sakurai, if you give them a fully straight faced match, 15-minute match, I don't think that they're gonna have like a great one. But I think having the kind of funnier
would
aspects,
not
having
doubt either one of them. I
I
just wouldn't doubt them.
probably, but I don't know. I think that like the finish and just kind of like the fun around that was definitely it made this match even better.
That's fair. All right. Well, that was that show. And our next show to review was on the 16th at Korkauen Hall. This did 755 fans, which is probably less than they would have liked. This was at the ass crack of dawn. Most people were probably in bed. It does
It
say it was
was
a national holiday, so I guess people weren't in work,
it was
which
8 p.m. my time, which is not how Japanese wrestling works.
no, not at all. They're also running Corkin again next week, so I feel like some people
Yeah.
just decided to go to that one. So yeah, not an ideal number, but it's not the worst thing in the world either.
I will also
Um,
say that Marigold is insistent on not doing a stage and doing
yeah,
like proper Korakuen. So it looked a bit worse, which is uh
I wonder
apparent
why they
by
don't
some
like the
people on
stage.
Twitter.
Rossi ran the stage for years, like years upon years. He had the stage.
It's hard. It's more difficult to put up, and also like I think
That's true.
Korakuen looks better without the stage personally.
Uh,
Um,
kind of. It depends. I thought
I
didn't Poco Pro have the stage? I thought it looked all pretty nice there.
yeah, I mean Chocopro, I mean Seedling does it all the time. Like
Yeah,
that's
Seedling
what
makes
they
it look
run.
good. Yeah,
I
the
like the
entrance way is just
stage.
nice.
I just also like the I don't know if gorilla is the right word for it, but the idea, like the vibe of like the packed in crowds near the ring. I like it, and like
Mm,
the wrestlers coming in through the crowd. It feels like
I
from the entranceways.
guess.
I like the way that kind of looks. To be fair, like I compare it to like that like 2017 New Japan, the New Year's Dash. Those are like my favorite crowds ever. Is just like this like over capacity quirk and that like everybody's just kind of sardined in and are all
Yeah, but
like
that wasn't
surrounding the
this. That's
wrestlers.
why I'm saying like he's
No,
like Marigold is not drawing that to Corkin
but
again.
I but
These
I also
studios
think that
done.
they did. This was the first Korakuen of theirs that really like suffered, like actively.
I'm pretty sure the Nanai Utami one did as well.
That was still pretty strong, just from
Yeah, but
like
you
a
can run the stage and still
vibe.
draw your 900 there. Like,
Yeah,
what up the stage? I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's fine. They're running it again next week. We'll see. Our first tournament match was in the Star League. Chiaki gets her first win of the tournament as she beats Misa Matsui in 6.5 minutes with a Hurricane Rana Frankensteiner thing. Um,
she reversed Arana.
she reversed a Rana indeed. Um, and yeah, I thought this was really fun. It was
Yeah,
just kind of like fast paced, good, intricate counter pro wrestling. Yeah, I thought they did well. Chucky did try to cheat, and that's always engaging. And yeah, then it ended. So it's fun.
yeah,
That's
that
what it
was
was.
solid. I didn't have much takeaways from it. I thought it was a solid little match. I was happy to see Chiaki win. I thought it was kind of funny, like hers being like,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it was
Also,
good.
it opened with Chiaki going for a handshake and Misa refusing it, and Chiaki just flipping her off in the middle of the ring, just like, man, fuck you. I thought that was funny because Chiaki wants Misa Matsui to become evil and try harder.
Ah, I
Um,
see. Yes, yes.
that
They'll
was like
do
kind of
that
their
in
thing.
like 2 years' time, and we'll be like, "Oh, that's cool. That's great."
Yeah,
Um, our next match anyway was in the Dream League. Victoria Yuzuki beat Chika Goto in 6.5 minutes with a rolling arrow. This was Yuzuki's first win of the tournament, and Gochika is now 0-4. And I was really good. They really dived into the rivalry between the two, and obviously their tag team rivalry from the Twin Tower and whatever Yuzuki and Kazuna are called. Um, like it was just a heated 6.5 minute match between the two rookies who were just throwing everything at each other.
yeah. Interestingly enough, and I wouldn't think I would be saying this. I think that like Gochika and Yuzuki needed more time to fully deliver. Um,
Probably.
because like the match that this is ever kind of being compared to, because it has to be, was their previous match, which went 15 minutes. Everybody's like, why the fuck did it go 15 minutes? And it was great. Um, and so I think this match like struggled to meet that you know their first match against each other. But I thought it was still pretty fun. I still thought Izuki's forearms look a lot better. Gochika is obviously a very good just striker, and she does her
Yeah.
stuff well. And I still find the messiness pretty endearing for the most part because there was a lot of messiness here.
Yeah, she
Uh,
did. She went up to do her butt splash thing, and like had to stall. She kind of
Yeah,
wasn't
and
steady.
Yuzuki went for the lightning spiral, and it just didn't work really,
Yeah.
which was kind of a shame because I think that's a really good move, and it would have really brought the match to another level if it
Mhm.
connected well. So there were certain things that kind of like took away from it in small instances, but I thought it was a fun match. I enjoyed it.
They almost
And
single-handedly saved it by Yuzuki kneeling across her back after the match and being
yeah,
like,
that
"I
was
won,
also
dog, I won."
fucking sick.
That's
She's
crazy.
won like 3 matches in the company, and she's like
Yeah,
the most uh she's the
and,
most sore winner of all time.
Chica, like, crying backstage in her promo as well is, like, they're doing the big suffering builds character thing for Chica in this tournament,
There's a
so
few people who
she
are
really went
suffering
in.
to build character. I'm
Yes,
noticing.
yes.
But yeah,
Rocky
I'm
Ogawa,
happy.
once accused of 50-50ing a bit too much, is now like, "You know what? You always win, you never win. Screw you."
I
It's
do hope
incredible.
nobody goes over in this tournament. I'm kind of hoping that
I think
everybody
there's, like,
gets at least
4 different
one
people who
win.
might be over.
Yeah,
Misa
like
has no points and Chica has no points, which is something.
I
Kazuna
I'm
has no
I'm
points either. She might go over.
yeah. I'm trying to get to my thingy. Yeah, so I'm
Oh, yeah,
hoping
that's
like
great.
Kazuna goes over Misa and Misa goes over my Sakurai, so they both get points. And I'm hoping Chikugoto just beats literally anybody. I hope that Chikugoto beats Koki. That's the upset
Ooh,
I am
that'd be
really kind of
interesting.
banking on and looking at. 'Cause I think that'd be the coolest possible way to do it.
Yeah, why not? Um,
So I'm
alright,
hoping
and,
nobody suffers too much,
yeah,
even if some of them are going to, regardless.
um, the next match was in the Star League. Mai Sakurai beat Kazuna Tanaka in 8 minutes with an STF. I thought it was interesting to see Mai in this position. You know,
Hmm.
we haven't seen her, like, dominate a rookie since Julia left and since she kinda got this first push. I think she did fairly well in her role. She probably still has room to grow into that kind of dynamic, but, you know, obviously this was one of her first times ever doing it, so I thought she did well, all things considered.
Yeah, I feel like I tweeted about this. I think that like my Sakurai really figuring it out and becoming a high tier pro wrestler has really risen the floor in Marigold to a pretty noticeable degree. That isn't like, the rookies, like the Minamis and whatnot. Um, because like this was just a good match. I mean, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
It was relatively one of the I would say one of the weakest non Bozilla matches of the tournament.
Mm.
Um, because I think Bozilla had a couple falters here and there so far. Um, I think it was the one of the weaker of those, but I still thought it was a good match. You know what I mean? I still thought it was an actively solid and fun match. I think that could be said for the first 3 matches in general. I thought that they were
Yeah,
maybe weaker amongst the field, but I thought they were all good. You know what I mean? And I think that's really
yeah,
a testament to
for
the
sure.
floor this tournament has. I think there was a great near fall that Bozilla that Kazuna got. Same person. No, I thought there was a great near fall that Kazuna got over my Sakurai with the Redream, where she kind of like got a real deep pinfall in, and it looked like she could have actually pulled it out. I thought that was a really cool spot, and yeah, my Sakurai's STF is great.
Yeah. On to the good stuff then. In the Dream League, Nori beat Natsumi Shozuki. Kind of surprising result. In 11 minutes with an enzigiri of all things.
Mhm.
Nori moves up to 8 points, and every time I think her momentum is going to stall, it doesn't. And I really should have realized Rossi got handed a slightly lanky shoot background kicker. This man is
By
going to push
Shinobu
her to the moon.
Kandori.
Yes, like we should have known based on Yoko Bito and Arisa Hoshiki that this man was going to push Nori to the moon because this is his favorite archetype. It is he loves it. So Nori's tournament makes a lot of sense when you consider he was a basically handed Yoko Bito version 2, and
Yeah,
he loved Yoko Bito.
and I
So
think, yeah, I think it's a mix of that plus like Kandori's political power is that it's like she's not losing to anybody. Like,
yeah,
she'll probably lose to Utami. Uh, she only
you'd
has 2
hope.
matches left, so she probably loses to Utami, and I would say probably loses to Izuki. Uh, but yeah, like her just kind of like tearing through. Me and Xavier actually talked about it. We're actually Rossi's super lucky at how some of these undercard wrestlers are doing. Uh, because like
Yes.
if Nori was bad, he would have stuck to this. Like I don't think like her being like if she was not as exciting. I think he probably still would have booked her in the same sense.
Oh yeah, this
And
is the guy who pushed Utami down everybody's throat for like 2 years,
yes,
even though
and I
she
thought
hadn't
Utami was
hit
good,
yet.
but she wasn't. Yeah. Uh,
Not Utami. It was
and I
something.
think that's the thing. If Nori was not operating at the level Nori is, if my Sakurai didn't flip the switch and start operating at the level she is, this tournament would be looked at a lot worse than it is, in my opinion. But because Rossi kind of lucked out and his roster really uh, rose to the occasion when they needed to, even Koki, I would say Koki's had a really good tournament thus far.
Yeah,
As I said earlier, I think these wrestlers like have really made Rossi's booking luck out because if Nori wasn't good and she beat Suzuki here, I'd probably be pissed because it's like,
that's
come
fair.
on, you can give
Am I
Suzuki
still coming through normally? I feel
yes,
like
you
the
are.
wire looks like it's gonna come out, but it never does.
You are sounding
Okay,
fine.
that's good.
But yeah, the match itself really really good. I actually really loved it. Um, I thought it was another fun like shooter style match from Nori. She got a rear naked choke in, and I was like, oh, she's just actually applying that move fully legitimately and just not squeezing that hard. Like I was like, this is like down to every minute detail. She's got a rear naked choke in, and could just kill her immediately. And I thought that was like kind of a cool aspect of the match is that it's like there felt like a real urgency from Shizuki as well, especially where it's like I need to beat this chick or she's gonna kill me. Like she was doing shoot pinfalls and stuff like a real like intricate work like that, and I really loved it. And the Meteoras obviously were sick, kicks were sick from both of them. Finish a bit flat, but I also like I kind of like the fact that Nori can just beat you
Nor
with
just throws
any
combos.
any
She just
random
throws fighter
kick.
combos. It's
Any
crazy.
given kick could be the end of the match. I
Yeah,
think I kind of like
except
that.
her dazzling one, the spinny one. That one
Well, no,
doesn't
that
win. The
that was
rest
the
of
one
them.
that does win. It's just that she doesn't get to hit it much because everybody counters it.
Didn't she hit it here and it didn't win?
It got a rope break, just barely.
Oh, I see. Okay.
That's
Yeah.
how they protected it. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't need to I don't think I need to chime in. Everybody knows this is my shit. Look at all of
Yeah.
my favorite wrestlers ever, and look at this match, and that's basically it. So yeah, good stuff. Um, our next match was in the Star League. Nanai Takahashi beat Bozilla in just under 9 minutes with a passion package. Yeah. Um, this was the real shit. They just
Yeah.
picked up where they left off. When they sat outside and were just smacking each other, I was just like, this right here is the peak. This right here is the absolute pinnacle of what professional wrestling should be. And then they just kept going. And yeah, this is everything. I love it. I could watch these two wrestle forever.
Yeah. I think that more than anyone, Bozilla is, and I said this on Scott's YouTube channel, which I did a short preview of or a short review of the show the other day. So I'm sorry if you guys heard that and now are listening to me repeat my point. I feel like Nanai is like six people's soulmates in pro wrestling,
Yes.
and I think Bozilla, like I think she is now Bozilla's soulmate. Like I think Nanai is like the one that gets the best out of Bozilla twice now, and it's just like very far and away like this is what Bozilla is meant to be, what Bozilla like should be, what her best the best of Bozilla is her matches against Nanai where they just beat the hell
Yeah.
out of each other. I thought it was just super fun. It's my favorite match of the night, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Personally, I thought it was just so good, and I think Nanai is just like you said it last week. That's like if it wasn't for Sareee and Mayu just being Sareee and Mayu this year and kind of having a fucking pissing contest, uh, Nanai would be very much like looked at as like a real wrestler of the year type of figure because
Yeah.
she just had insane matches all year.
Her hit rate is like insane.
Yeah.
She's batting it out of the park. Um, Yeah, I think the as much as the Nye brings out the best in Bozilla, I also think Bozilla forces the Nye to do a lot of different stuff. Like she has to fight Bozilla in a way that she doesn't have to fight anybody else on this roster.
Hmm.
Like she's never had to chop down somebody like Bozilla, and it's really interesting to see a normally powerful, like, one-sided wrestler have to meet like a force of nature like Bozilla, and I think it brings out a really interesting side of Nanai. Um, Obviously, she has been a babyface. When she first rose to prominence in AJW, it was
Mhm.
her and Momoe as like the big babyface tag team. So she knows how to do all this stuff. She just doesn't have to do it all that much. So seeing her opposite Bozilla, I think it really brings out a lot of her natural instincts from that time in AJW.
Yeah, I agree that it does kind of force her to do something a bit different. And I appreciate that. I think Nanai is uh, obviously like overhated, but I also think Nanai is underappreciated for her ability to kind of do different things. Uh,
Yeah,
Even by me, I mean, like for a long time, it's like even after I really started getting into Nanai, she kind of had one speed still, and I
yeah,
think I've grown to appreciate that she is, yes, a very like you know what to expect out of Nanai Takahashi. She isn't about to do anything like out of this world that you would have never expected her to. She is who she is, but I think she is way more multifaceted and way more capable of doing a lot of things than people give her credit for. And I thought this match kind of showed that her working from underneath, getting that roll up victory, and it being like a big, upset. You don't usually think of Nanai and think of upset over someone else
yeah.
in this day and age, but like this was a real well done upset from Nanai over Bozilla, and I loved. I also loved that Bozilla like was pretending to give Nanai her flowers after the match and then tried to kill her. Uh,
Yes. Also,
and then
Nanai celebrating the win by going around the entire venue and being like,
yes,
"Passion,
as
passion, passion."
Bozilla is straitjacketed by like six people, like six
Yeah,
seconds in the ring. Nanai's just taking her goddamn time, walking around, saying hello to everybody, saying
victory
passion.
lapping. That's
It was
crazy.
so
I
funny.
love
I
her.
thought that was so funny, and I love that. I think when Bozilla loses, it's so much fun.
Obviously
Like it
very
is
entertaining,
because
yeah.
she's so good at like being a sore loser, and it's like it just works. It just works super well.
They've compared her to Monster Ripper one time, and she took all of her plays.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
crazy.
I know, because
Um,
people forget Monster Ripper was like a crybaby.
yes, yeah.
Like, she was a complete crybaby when she
So
wasn't
it's funny.
killing people.
Yes, yeah, I was like, "What do you mean I lost?" No. She just go crazy. It's fun. Um, Our next match was in the Star League. Sareee and Miko Iono wrestled to a 15-minute time limit draw. And I say wrestled, I mean Miko Iono's barely survived Sareee.
Yeah,
This was a really interesting match. I think it was really well done. I
mm,
think they have a much better match in them if
agreed.
Miko Iono was ever presented as somewhat of an equal to Sareee. But for what they did, I thought it was really engaging. I thought Iono looked tough as nails for continuously fighting back against Sareee. I think she looks like a genius for crumpling on that last Uranagi attempt when she knew the time was running down. It was like, okay, just throw one elbow and crumple, and I might make it. And I thought that was really clever. And the bell ringing just as the referee went to count three was great.
Yeah, I thought it was just generally a really well, like a mentally well worked match. I like Sareee. Hot take. I like Sareee. But I think Sareee just kind of does like this really cool thing. She learned it from Ito, but does it better. Where sometimes when she feels like it, she's just gonna sit on you and see if you can get up and just talk shit to you for a while. Just just actually shoots it on you and just be like, "What you gonna do? Do something." I could sit here all day. And I feel like that mentality is really what drove this match into the place that it got to. Because Miku really was just trying to survive Sareee, as Sareee was just being this egomaniac asshole the entire time. And I thought it worked perfectly. Even, it also even made that Miku's like comebacks a bit more ferocious. I mean, she got her in the corner, was kicking the hell out of her, and she started targeting the injured arm, right? I thought that there were like these little aspects of Miku's like survival instincts, this fight or flight type of thing from Miku's game that I thought was super fun to watch, even though it was mostly just Sareee beating the fuck out of Miku. Um, and with that being said, similar to what you said, I think I would love to see a world where it's a 22-minute match that is a bit more even and Miku has a chance to win and feels like she's a an equal to Sareee in any way because Sareee just dog walked her, and it was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't think they got to do everything they could have in the 15 minutes. But I thought it was a lot of fun nonetheless, and I really hope they run it back someday.
All right. Where did you leave off?
Um, Good match.
Okay.
Yeah, I hope they do it again. That was what I was
Yeah.
getting at.
All right. There's definitely room for a sequel, if they want
Mhm.
to. Saree's running away like a freight train in Marigold, so it's kind of interesting how they're presenting her.
I
Um,
also loved after the match when Sareee was just kind of like, I can't believe I would draw against someone like you. Mika's
Dude,
like, the
her
and Mika's
entire
just
arc.
dead, just like, what? I don't know what you're saying right now.
Honestly, Saree is such a shit talker. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I can see why
I,
WWE wanted her though. She would have been perfect if they had put her on TV ever.
Her demeanor is also very funny because like she's got like three moods. One is
Yes,
like she's just like a happy, good friend type of person at like a press conference who's just like seems like a sweetheart. The other is when she like has to pose at the opening ceremony and throws up the one finger, just like I can't believe I'm doing this shit. Please get me the fuck out of
Mhm.
here.
Yeah.
Ugh. And then the third is when she's happy, uh, beating the fuck out of someone.
Yes.
Like those are the only three. Is this like apathy towards everything, this Sari seeming like a good and genuine person, and then her just being happy that she's hurting someone. It's really cool.
Truly the greatest to ever do it.
Yeah, up there.
Our main event was in the Dream League. Mirai beats Utami Hayashishita in 10.5 minutes with a lariat. They simply smacked meat for the entire match. They were just
Hmm.
throwing lariats and shit for the entire thing, and it was awesome. And I loved the finish because Mirai did no sell a German, but it was kind of like she saw an opportunity because Utami had turned her back and used that to get the win. And I was like, that is
Yeah,
genius. I really like that.
Mirai is absurdly smart. I think people don't give her credit for it. In terms of just like how she does certain sequences. I think she's just a real smart wrestler, and I really like this. I thought it was a very bread and butter match. I feel like they probably like talked to each other, went up to each other, and were like, "Hey, like this is probably a bigger match at some point." You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
we don't have to do too much. How about we just do what we like to do, and then we get out and we do it well. And that's what they did. They did the chokeholds. They did some like judo chokeholds. I think Utami had a kata hajime at one point, and I was like a big fan of
Wow.
that. Mirai was really selling those chokeholds. Like she was actually about to go out within the first 3 minutes, and it was like, oh shit! Like like I thought she did a really good job of selling those to you. And then at a certain point, there was like, okay, it's lariat time, and they just lariated the fuck out of each other. I thought that was really cool. I as a Dynamite Kansai fan, one of the things I loved about Dynamite Kansai is that she was very simple, very bread and butter, but she used that to be great, right? Um, she did some kicks, did some Boston Crab submissions, some bombs, but she and she would use that to make some of these matches the greatest matches of all time. And I really like when a wrestler can kind of just do the simple shit and make it work. And I thought that the chokeholds and the lariats, and a couple of Germans, was all you really needed here. I love this match. I thought it was a ton of fun. Um,
Yeah.
I'm really happy Mirai won. I thought it was like a cool way to kind of really cement her as like this real beast, but it also is a good way to almost protect Utami as like Utami's kind of off step this tournament.
Yeah, they
Uh,
actually addressed that in the promo.
yeah,
Mirai said, I finally beat you for the first time in a singles match, but I have mixed emotions because this isn't the Utami Hayashishita I knew. You aren't
She
100%
basically
the Mariah that I want, or the Utami that I wanted to surpass.
she basically said that Utami lost the match to herself at one
Yeah, and
point,
I
which I
think,
thought was
you know,
interesting.
we talked about that in the preview of the tournament. It's like Utami hasn't really felt cooked yet in Marigold. She's kind of
Mm.
there in spirit, but not physically, and it's like everything is happening around her, and she's just there.
She's also been very
Um,
selfless in the sense that it's like she
yeah,
doesn't really get these huge performances in and of herself. Like I thought this match was a great Mirai performance. I thought it
yeah,
was a good Utami performance that made
sure.
that made Mirai's performance better. You know, what I mean, I think that's been kind of Utami's speed recently, even against Nozaki. Like that was a match to that Utami had that made it so that people were like, "Oh yeah, Nozaki's really good." Like
Mhm.
kind of have that wake up call for Marigold fans. Obviously, the EO match goes without saying. Even back to the first show with the Bozilla match, like that was all about making Bozilla look insane. You know what I mean? Like I think that's just kind of where Uda is right now. Is kind of making other people look good, and I think it's cool that they're kind of calling that out. You know what I mean? Is that it's like
Yeah,
you're
that's
not
one thing I've always
doing
liked about
you.
Rossi's kind of booking is that when somebody is taking a step back, the characters in universe are usually like, you aren't the full form I wanted."
Hmm.
Um, and I think that's something that's gotta presumably next year. I think when they presumably pull the trigger on Utami, she can be like, "Look, this is the full me. Like I am back. I'm feeling it." So I think it's a very easy thing to do, and it's just very simple to drop in here to explain why Mirai could beat her. But I think it was very noble, especially to have Mirai pull it up and be like, "No, I won, but like I didn't feel like it. Like I know you're better than this." So I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, totally. I really love
Uh,
this match as well. I thought it was
yeah,
a really fun one, and
it
just
was
a
good,
good
very
show,
good.
great show. I really liked it.
Oh, dude, like just good vibes all around for
Yeah.
that show. I don't know, top three matches of the tournament. I feel like mine are mostly still the same. Um, I don't know about you. Do you want to run through your
Mine have
top
changed
three?
slightly.
Okay.
Number one is still Mirai versus Nori.
Yeah.
Uh, Number two is my Sakura versus Sareee,
Yeah.
and my number three is Nanai Bozilla. So that
Okay.
moved into
Yeah, we
the
have the same two and three, basically.
yeah.
What's my top one? I actually can't even remember. Um, it
I think
is mine is Sari Mai, I think number one.
yeah.
I know it's my Sakurai and Nanai. Is that it?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That
Yeah, and
tracks.
then Sari, my Sakurai, and then Bozilla, Nanai
Yeah. So
from.
we have different day one matches as our
Yeah.
number ones, but then otherwise we're the same.
Yeah, it's crazy that Sareee and Iono isn't on there for me, but I really do think they have a lot left in the back pocket. So I'm
Agreed.
not upset. I thought it was a nice match for what it was. Um, there's three shows for Marigold in the coming week. I
Excuse me.
don't see a reason to preview them all because so much of what might happen depends on the results. You know what I mean? Like the Korakuen fully depends on the results from Morioka and Sendai.
I think we can go through them briefly.
I
We
don't
don't have to
I don't know. I think we'll end up going
stand
like,
on
"Oh,
them.
well, what did we say for X, Y, and Z?" So, I don't think we should
I don't know.
try. I don't think we should attempt it.
I think we
Um,
should.
because next week
I
we can just focus on the final, and it'll be a lot easier.
but I also think that like this is like the most important show. Like these three shows are like the
They are, but
penultimate of the
I
tournament.
think I think audio-wise, it might be really bad to listen to us go, "Okay, Chiaki versus Bozilla. Well, what's Chiaki on? Do we have
Alex,
Chiaki
we have
beating
been
X, Y?"
talking. We this is like episode 220. Like the people know what they signed up for.
Yeah, I just don't think it would be good audio. I feel like we should just run through the cards and talk about how cool some of the matches might be.
You're no fun.
I know, I know. And maybe if we had spent less time on other stuff, we could dive into this, but you know, it is what it is. So, first show is on the 20th of September in Sendai. In the Dream League, Mirai and Koki Amare are going one on one. So that's fun, you know.
We could just kind of say like, do you see any upsets on this card?
Oh yeah, well Koki might win that. That's my one off bat.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I think
Okay.
Koki kind of needs more win. Maybe not. Uh,
She does. I imagine she'll be in the picture for the top spot come the final
Yeah,
day. So,
she has 4 more matches, so all these shows she has matches on,
oh yeah,
and she's going to have to lose, um, at least 1 or 2 of them.
yeah.
So
Well, if she wins here, she definitely drops to Chica. So that's kind of where you were going as well. So
yeah, I think that like she drops either here or against Nozaki.
yeah, okay. Then it's Utami versus Natsumi Shozuki. I imagine Utami wins.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah. And then Chika Goto versus Nagisa Nozaki, and that's probably Chika continuing her
Losing streak.
winless thing.
Yeah.
In Star League, Sareee takes on Misa Matsui. Um, no upset potential there. I'd imagine
Hmm.
Sareee is running through this tournament. Um, then Miko Aono versus Kazuna Tanaka. So I'd imagine Kazuna stays winless there.
Hmm.
The big one is obviously Chiaki versus Nanai Takahashi. Um,
Could go either way.
Nanai, yeah, I mean Nanai is on 6 points, and see if Sareee runs the block though, I think Nanai has to win just
Yeah,
about everything.
that's the interesting thing. Is I think the bigger question mark is the Nanai rematch. Um,
Korakuen?
in Korakuen, yes.
Yeah.
Uh, because this here could decide. Like, I mean, it depends. Because like, do we still believe Bozo's going through? Bozo has a
Possibly.
harder chance. I think Nanai has a stronger chance of going through at this point. But with that being said, she still probably loses one of her final 3 matches. Is it here, or is it against Sareee? I think it might be here. I think Chiaki has this upset. Um,
Mm, but
maybe not, but it's possible.
wait, so you have Nanai losing here and beating Sareee.
Yes,
Okay, I'm in agreement. So
because then it
Chiaki over
comes.
Nanai is our big one.
Yeah, because then it comes down to it comes down to the final night, which I think is
Yeah,
is
and I suspect Nanai will challenge Sareee for the belt as well, and you can have Nanai be like, "Well, I beat you in the tournament, so I want the title match."
because yeah, like the way it's looking, the
I like how I
problem
said we
is
wouldn't overthink it, and now we're just
yeah, we are.
overthinking
But no, I
it.
think I think the problem is that it depends on who goes through Nanai or Bozilla, which I think is a very big toss up for me now. Because Nanai has to lose 2 for Bozilla to be able to go through. 2 of her final 3.
Okay.
Because if Bozilla wins out, she gets to 10. And if Nanai wins out, uh, she gets to 10 as well. No, if Nanai wins 2 of 3, she gets to 10 as well, and Nanai goes through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
so I think it depends on who's going through Nanai or Bozilla. That kind of decides. And we're not talking about draws because that makes things way more messy. Uh, but I think that this is a place that Chiaki can get a win over Nanai. Kind of gives a bit more intrigue, and it gives Chiaki another point. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'm
Or
all
2
for it.
points.
Um, the next show after that is so many things to change and jump around on.
Morioka.
Morioka on the 21st. Mirai versus Victoria Yuzuki in Dream League. If Mirai beats Kouki, she loses this, and vice versa. Yeah.
Uh, I have not given any thought to this show. I'm not gonna lie.
Okay, that's fair.
I
Kouki
feel
and
like it's very
Nagisa
likely
Nozaki.
that it's all just the winner wins. You know what I mean?
Yeah, maybe. Koki and Nagisa, that might be draw bait. They might
It's a
draw
toss up.
just
Yeah,
because.
good.
Sareee versus Kazuna Tanaka in Star League, poor Kazuna. And then Mai
Could be fun
Sakurai and Chiaki in Star League is probably Mai winning. Yes, it's
potentially.
Chiaki over Nanai.
Uh,
Okay.
well, maybe. Shiaki might win there, so that my Sakai can beat Aono without going too high in the point
Yeah.
total.
Oh, possibly, yeah. Hmm.
But we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, that'll be a big one to look into going into the last day.
Mhm.
Second last day then in Korakuen Hall on September 23rd. This will be live, I imagine.
Yes.
It is in Dream League, Utami Hayashishita versus Nori. That is probably Nori's first loss. That is your big, like, Utami is still the one.
Yes, I think Utami needs that win, and I kind of pinpointed that from the jump that like Utami is going to
Yeah.
overcome Nori and kind of give her last push in the tournament.
Okay. Koki versus Gochika. That's probably Gochika over her partner.
I think it should be. Yeah.
Yeah. Mirai versus Natsumi Shozuki. I could see Natsumi winning there. She needs some points. So
Yeah, I think Mariah can drop a point. You know what I mean? Maybe
yeah.
actually, because
Mm,
Nori
yeah.
presents a problem over there. Uh, but
Nori can lose out. Nori can lose out. I think that's fair. Um, oh no, I
yeah,
already did
yeah,
that. Victoria Yuzuki versus Nagisa Nozaki. That's probably a Nozaki win. She probably gets a surge late on.
that could be an upset. I can see Yuzuki getting that one as an upset.
I don't know. I don't think there'd be much value in that. In the Star League side, Sareee versus Nanai Takahashi. We both have that as Nanai over
Yes,
Sareee.
at least
Okay.
it might be a draw, but I think it is Nanai over.
Chiaki versus Bozilla. Bozilla probably has to win this one.
Unfortunately, that is the match that I kind of
Yeah.
wanted Chiaki to get an upset in, but it becomes difficult with Bozilla uh, having a ceiling of 10 right now. Uh,
Yeah. Okay.
so yeah, I think Bozilla wins there.
Sareee would be on 7, 9. We have Sareee on 9 then coming out of the
Yeah,
Korakuen. Okay.
yeah, I would say so.
The winner, the person drawing, sending an eye through theory is gaining a lot of steam.
Yes.
But anyway, Chiaki versus oh no, I did that. My Sakurai versus Miku Aono. Yeah, I think we projected this as Mai early on because Miku she challenged 2 people and Mai was one of them. So
She
yeah,
challenged Mai and Chikagoto, and I think
yeah,
Chikagoto, because she's doing so poorly in the tournament, will take longer to
yeah.
get to that point.
And
So
so
I
if
think
Mai beats Aono, you can
they're
be like,
going with
hey, I
my
want the
Sakurai
title
first.
match. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kazuna versus Misa Matsui. One of them is presumably going to lose their 0 point total,
One of them
and
has to, yeah.
it's probably Misa.
I don't know. I think Kazuna wins there, and I think Misa gets the upset on the final day over my Sakurai.
Right. Okay.
Because this
I'm
is the
on
only
board.
place Kazuna can get a point.
Oh, she
Realistically,
can beat Chiaki.
I mean, maybe I have doubts, but potentially. But yeah, so I'm looking at these. This is a match where Kazuna over Misamatsui can be a big deal, and then Misamatsui being the huge spoiler of my Sakurai, is giving her something out of the tournament. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay. I see it. I see the vision. Uh, We're gonna have fun. This is gonna be a bit weird though. I imagine Sendai and Morioka are on VOD.
No,
So
they go up day later VOD.
oh yeah, that's
So I think
that's
Sendai goes up to 21st, Morioka goes up to
yeah.
22nd,
Morioka goes up, and
and
then you
then
have to watch Korakuen like that later that day,
yeah,
basically.
I think that,
Okay.
or one of them might be live. I don't know, but yeah, something like that. It's a pretty
Yeah.
fast turnaround with the
Okay.
mods.
Um, that's everything. We've got through it all relatively quickly. Um, Marigold is fun. We'll probably next week we'll probably be fully heavily Marigold because Stardom is just 5 house shows, and quite frankly, I don't know anybody who wants to hear us talk about all that.
When is
So,
the when's the Korkin?
28th, I think, for
Uh,
Stardom,
yeah.
or
So next week,
yeah,
next week we'll
28th.
do big previews for Stardom, but we're gonna do mostly
Big
Marigold.
previews is a bit much, I'd say.
Yeah, there
They'll
are title
probably
matches because
it'll
there's
just
new
be the
blood as
Goddess
well.
match, I imagine,
Oh, there's
and
two
the New Blood.
Korkins.
What?
There's a nighter the week after.
Oh dear God. Okay. They might not have a card though.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Um, we'll see. We'll figure it out though. Don't worry. We'll be back next week to talk all things Marigold and a little bit of Stardom. And until then, unless Dylan has any closing remarks, it is time to close the show.
It's a busy time, man. Nagoya's
Very.
we're gonna be previewing Nagoya in 2 weeks
That was absurd.
and reviewing the Korok and the New Blood and the final of the Dreamstar.
I can see why a bunch of people were like, "Why does nobody like Joshi anymore?"
Because there's
It
a
is.
lot of
This
shit
shit's a
going
full
on.
time job. This shit is a full
Yeah,
time job in itself. All right. Well, it's time to close the show. If you want to stand, you may stand. If you want to sit, you may sit. Believe today, shine tomorrow. You decide what you believe in.
stay
Ijo.
golden. Ijo. I
Sorry, I
decided to
cut
throw
off
it
your
in that
shit.
time. No,
Yeah,
I
that's
decided,
good.
it was a show.
I respect it.